Welcome back. Children nowadays are equally exposed to television as they are to books. Now, that's one of the observations of educator and child development specialist Feny Delos Angeles-Bautista, with whom I recently sat down to chat. Bautista was the executive producer of popular children's show Batibot, and she has very interesting points when it comes to kids and TV.
Television is a powerful tool in influencing children nowadays, but are TV networks still doing its part in promoting the Filipino language to kids and providing content that's informative and substantial? Well, to answer these questions, we have in the studio Feny Delos Angeles-Bautista. She is an educator and a child development specialist, also the former executive director of the Philippine Children's Television Foundation. Good morning, Feny, and thank you for being with us here on Daybreak.
Yes.
Okay, so my first question is, what do you think about the state of Philippine TV?
Okay, there is, I think the first important statement to make is the death of local Filipino children's television happened about 2-3 years ago and was in the making over the last 10 years. When I say local, like Batibot.
Yes, I grew up watching the show.
Yes, all Filipino and produced.
Locally produced,
tailor-made for the Filipino child. You know, the problem is the ratings game.
Right.
The other network pit that program against ours. So when it lost the ratings game, it was canceled. So it all boils down to the state is that there's a it's more than a large gap. It's the absence of local Filipino children's TV. What you have are imported programs dubbed into Filipino. You know what the origins of those dubbed cartoons are? When Batibot was very popular, they saw, that the networks and advertisers saw that, okay, they prefer Filipino. So children like to watch Filipino because it speaks to them, it's their language.
Sure.
So that's when they started dubbing imported programs.
Something was lost in the translation there.
That's exactly what happened.
The intention was good.
For a while, Sesame Street was dubbed in Filipino, and there were errors. And then the dubbed animes, no?
Yes.
It's fine. It's just like I ask myself, okay, then I'd be like a European child, a German child watching some of the dubbed BBC programs because everything is dubbed in German. But there's still a cultural mismatch there.
That's right.
It's good to expose our children to various cultures, but not also to the extent of missing out on their own.
Sure, and this is the best way to foster,
that's what's
patriotism.
badly missing. Yeah.
Right. So that is what you feel.
What's missing is Filipino culture in context. It's sad. It's a sad state. I think it's also very short-sighted on the part of media giants in the industry because there is I know not of a country that really achieved optimum development in every sense of the word, cultural, social, and economic, without a commitment to children's media.
You were the executive producer of Batibot, which a show was very close to my heart. And how would you compare the shows of that era to the shows these days? Do you feel like there's a massive lack of substance, or how do you think they compare?
Well, first, let's talk about the for TV, for children.
Right.
Okay? I'd make a distinction between the produced and made for children specifically, and those that are the drama series or that are, there's one, let's say Once Upon a Time, that's being positioned to be for children. I'd say that it will be closest to what's considered a family, aimed at family, no? And not specifically for children. It has its merits, very good production qualities. Storylines they try to play safer.
Yeah.
So, but that's one. I make that one distinction. That's one program that deserves mention because it attempts to tell good stories, drama, good for children, and it's a showing on prime time.
Right. Do you feel like children should be regulated in terms of TV hours?
Definitely, with or without Batibot, TV in general,
right?
Or screen time for that matter.
Yes, screen time.
Because it's really iPad, even parents' phones, and video gaming, all screen time should be regulated. Just because, first of all, it gets in the way of active play. If parents, in rare situations now where you have a stay-at-home parent, whether the father or the mother, then if they make it a shared experience, that's good. That's good. If they talk a child through it, and parents too, we should annotate for our kids. As they grow older, when they're of school age, regulation is even more important because when they're in grades 1 to 3, they should be making a shift to reading longer material.
Right.
Chapter books, you call them.
Yes.
And not textbooks alone, but those books that require persistence.
Yes.
So when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, they're the temptation to shift, or to leave books and stay on TV. That's
less work for them, yeah. Do you think that the generation of children, this generation, are smarter than the previous ones?
Not necessarily. I'd say maybe more articulate about certain things. Technically, definitely techno-savvy. But the generation of before had its own smartness.
Sure, yeah.
So in terms of intelligence, you're really bound by developmental stages.
That's right.
So what we really have to do is safeguard what's safe learning spaces for children.
Okay, that's the key.
The TV must be a part of their lives. It is. It's
It's
impossible.
inevitable, yeah.
Our job is to ensure that they have enough exposure to things that matter to them, that will support their development and their learning. And what batibot offered before was that learning is fun. You know, it opened that kind of atmosphere, also that relationship between parent-child. That TV, like all other forms of experience, is something to be shared.
My last question is, you said in one interview, I think this was in 2011, that Philippine TV is not kid-friendly.
Yes.
Now, what would be your call to action to the networks to do something and change the way things are in terms of investing in our children?
Yeah. One is that, precisely to invest in local children's programs. 2, to buy intelligently from foreign providers, and there are many good options. 3rd is to ensure that we have a law, the Children's TV Act, that it's implemented. It's not being implemented. It's not being implemented.
This has been such an informative and actually inspiring and motivating conversation this morning. We are so honored to have you here. Thank you so much. And for all that you do, that you've done, that you continue to do, more power. There you have it. Thank you so much, Feny, for joining us on Daybreak. That was Feny Delos Angeles-Bautista, educator and child development specialist.